Hello, welcome everybody to yet another episode of Two Facet Podcast. I am Juncal Gonzalez, one of your co-hosts, and I am here with
Matt Mikulski. I'm the second co-host and product manager.
I am a product designer.
Yeah. So we are here today to do something that is called shaping session.
Exactly, yes.
So in our previous episodes, you may hear, hopefully you watch them, about Shape Up as a framework.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had an episode about shaping as
Yes.
one of the processes you do inside that framework. So
so today we wanted to just show you real life how we are going through one of these shaping exercises. We are going to be using one template that we created inside the team to follow the process. But basically what we use the template for is just to remember the parts. It's not just to follow it like step by step. And yeah.
But we have there some also tips and tricks for ourselves.
Exactly.
Just to remind of like what should we be doing right now in this section. So this is there too. So as it is real life, you will be seeing a bit. One more thing that we should say: shaping sessions may be long or short. We actually don't know how long this one gonna take. So
yes.
we are going freestyle here. We're gonna be doing like a real problem that we need to solve for. Actually, not Doc Planner this time. We have our own second project that we are working on, and we will be trying to solve a problem for it. So we're gonna split this session into a few episodes, organized around sections inside shaping. So you can jump into any of the parts of the shaping session and see how we did it.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's jump into the Figma and template.
The template.
The template that we have.
Exactly. This is the template that we have, and just to give like a super brief overview of what we are going to do, we are going to first go through a first part where we are going to discuss the problem space, what do we know about the problem we are going to solve, and how we are going to define the problem. Then there's a second moment when we are going to start discussing the solution and how much appetite do we have to build this solution, as well discussing about boundaries, what is in, what is out of the solution. Then the fun part will come when we are going to make drawings and flows. And of course, we should not forget about risks and rabbit holes. So these are all the steps we are going to be following.
Exactly. So let's jump into it. No, shall we? So
Yes.
What do we know?
What do we know? So we have a product.
Let's not be shy. Let's show it.
Okay. Yes. Sorry.
We do have.
I was thinking how to explain it. Yes. There you go. So this is the product, and basically what the product does is that it helps the user collect feedbacks from the customers or from the users. It allows the user to collect them, to moderate them, like this is a real feedback or it's not. And it also allows to group them into maybe ideas that can be like later initiatives or features or these kind of things. What happens with these ideas is that they are open for everybody in the company, a lot of roles that are in contact with the customer or product people. And then anybody can like give a vote to an idea that will turn out into a feature or an initiative. And right now, how is it designed? When you give a vote to an idea, basically what you're doing is that you are providing an evidence that one other customer wants this feature, no? So you would put here the name of the doctor, whatever you have the link, and you would put here what the doctor is needing. And then let's make a test. And then
once the upvote is added, no?
Yes. Now we see that the idea has two signals, like two evidences or two feedbacks about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is some moderation flow, but the general idea is for internal employees, like customer success, sales, everybody that has like contact with the customers, be able to send you feedback back, right? And then let's say in a wider sense, you would be able to group those feedbacks into ideas. And then it's great. So the upvote button is something that would naturally do, because it's like, oh, I just talked with the customer,
Yes.
+1 for this one from the customer, no? And then you can see how much.
And
yes,
exactly. And then you can go to see which ones are the ones with more votes or less votes.
Exactly.
Yes. But what we found is that sometimes there are employees in the company that really wants to go for an initiative or for an idea because they think it's going to have an impact, right? With the knowledge they have. But there is not exactly one customer that tells them that, no?
Yeah, exactly. There is, or maybe it's like just I like this feature, no? Sometimes it's gonna be like, I like this feature. Sometimes it's like, I see that trend, no? So it's like maybe not one customer gave me this feedback. So a lot of times it's more like personal opinion of a person that, based on my experience, this seems nice, no?
Yes.
And then naturally they would click an upvote and say like, hey, +1, no, to this one. Okay, let's go back to the shaping board. Maybe we can...
So what do we know? We know that...
either without... I mean, signal without... Okay, so just for the listeners and watchers, just to explain signals and ideas, we call whatever is a feedback from the user, we call it signal in our product. And then ideas are these groups of signals, just to explain. So some users needs to vote without adding a signal. For me, it's like, vote for an idea, no? So it's like they are adding you a feedback, it just doesn't have description, because description is like, I like this idea, no? Or my customer liked this idea, or this feedback signal or whatever also comes from my customer. This is like an interaction that I believe people have in mind. We don't know. No?
So are we saying there's like two ways of voting? Like our users need to vote on behalf of the customer on one hand, and then on behalf of themselves on the other hand, no?
Yeah, so it's maybe personal idea versus personal opinion versus customer feedback. Okay.
Maybe it feels like, okay, we need to wait because they're typing. But what we normally do in these kind of sessions, and it's useful, is to write the conversation. Yeah. So later on, you can always come back. Maybe if the session is longer and you need to, leave the meeting and then come back, you can review what was done in there. And maybe other people can enter the board as well that were not in the session. They can read it. So yeah, this is what we normally would do.
Leaving some breadcrumbs for people. For everybody watching, there is the 1+5 speed in YouTube, super fast to switch between us typing. Okay, so there are two ways of voting, that's for sure. I don't know if this is problem for people that are voting, to be honest. I do believe it is an issue later on. So as a product manager, for me what's important is like not to blame anybody. Don't feel that, no? But it's like, imagine you had a situation in which people love one idea and they're just gonna make everything for that idea to happen. So one of the problems that can exist here is people overusing voting. So it's just, if I don't need to give a customer, I will just come and click 25 times a day because I love this idea so much. I'm gonna put it on top no matter what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna push. And then this stops being a feedback that you want to care. It's just like someone really wants you to build it, no? And it's becoming a pushing tool more. Okay, so there are people in the company who really want to go for this, but then as a product manager, you cannot differentiate if the votes are because the people really want to go for this or because there are a lot of users. And both are correct, but it's useful to know the difference. Exactly.
No?
So I cannot see like impacted users.
Okay.
So how much impact this gonna bring me, even though I see high number of votes, no? Yes. Okay.
It doesn't tell you the actual number of impacted users.
Yeah, because it can be, anything between a lot of customer successes wanting it versus customers wanting it or whatever else. Not saying that this really happens, but just to explain like a fear that I have personally looking at that number, knowing that it's not always from the customer. While it is valuable for me to know, hey, this is pretty popular among your operations. Maybe it's like, okay, they've been not able to collect like individual customers, or maybe there is something that they just don't have evidences yet for. Maybe we should look with the product research into this topic. Maybe there is something. So it would be interesting to see both words. But yeah, the general idea is to be able to draw some product conclusions, no? And with this number, that really can work.
Yes. And also for the user, I've heard one feedback about this, which is if I want to give more like my personal opinion, like my personal vote, right now I have a lot of fields to fill up, right?
Sure.
I have the customer link, I have the description, but it's like, I just want to leave my vote, you know? I want to have it more simple.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That I believe exists. I mean, I read a paper about it, so I'm not saying it's science saying like no, this is truth, but
Okay.
some hypothesis that I saw, evidences that validated the hypothesis, is called voting momentum. So basically, when you see high number, otherwise. So imagine you have two places. One place is 20 people inside. Second place, there's 2 people inside. Where would you go?
Like on restaurants,
Let's
right?
say
When you have two restaurants,
yeah.
yes.
So it seems there are scientific evidences showing, hey, you will go to the one with 20 people. So you'll just follow the crowd. And it's similar with voting. So looking at voting elections, let's say, no? So it's like, if middle of the day, you have some informations about initial exit surveys, so it always happens, and it's not organized by the government because government cannot push you into any of the places. So there are third-party agencies that are doing exit surveys just to understand more or less how the votes are put at. No, so it's more like, hey, how did you vote it this way? Okay, I will type it. No, you can lie. It's not really formations, but this is getting public, and seems like this is influencing later. So if someone is already winning, the win gonna be just bigger. No, it's not that the other is gonna say like, oh no, the one that I wanted is losing. So there is big option you're gonna go for the one with higher number of votes. Similar in products like this. So if you look at user voice, Canid.io, user signal, now seems this is similar. No, so the customers, if you have like a public board, let's say, the customers may come there. In our case, it's a private board, so it's your employees will come there and say like, oh, let's see top ideas. Oh, I like this one, and this one is also cool, and oh, this would be amazing for my customers. It is good feedback, but then it does not give you. It may become a concert of wishes, basically, instead of like feedback-driven development.
Yes.
It's just like, I like the ideas. Do you want my opinion? Yes, I like this one and that one. No,
so let's say that people in general are biased by the existing number of votes. No.
Yeah. And what this can also create, on the other side, is how would you feel if you go to some product. Okay, let's use ours. So only private board. So we don't have a public board where customers can vote. They need someone to vote on their behalf. And let's say you're working as a customer success. So you're coming to the software and you see like hundreds of ideas with hundreds of votes, none of them done.
Okay. How
much motivation for how long you're gonna have to keep clicking on those buttons and seeing just increase from 125 to 126, and then it's like nothing is happening. I'm just clicking buttons and numbers get higher, but it's so high and nothing is happening. What the fuck? So you can actually, I do believe you can demotivate people also.
Yes, like I see this has 300 already and no one did anything.
So why will I spend my time clicking there? No. So it can be demotivating. If we are thinking easier model, so let's say we would have public boards. It's like, as a customer that's paying for some software, you're coming to some page and you see, hey, 300 customers of this company asked for something and they do nothing with it.
Yes.
Or it's like in progress for the last month. And we all know how sometimes development cycles look like. No, sometimes some ideas from the customers, even if amazing, even if most voted, they're either not relevant to you really, or super expensive development, let's say. No, and then someone will have this skeleton of like, yes, we know, but things, no? So this can act actually demotivating in our case for internal workers, but outside I do believe it can also work
if it would be public
against you for some of the customers in some of the cases, no?
Yes, against your image. Okay. To be honest, here I already see 3 slightly different problems. Right? One is just about the fact of giving the vote, just the action of making it. Then on the other hand, we have the product manager or whomever is consuming this information, right? To have it separated and to have it clear. And then we have this other thing about the number of the votes with the voting momentum, and that too many votes can be demotivating. Maybe it could be slightly separated from the other problems, no? Or how you see it?
I don't know yet.
You don't know yet?
Yeah,
okay.
So unfortunately I am biased already and I have some solutions in my mind.
No!
We should be temples without bias, but this is, in reality, always have some solutions. So I believe they may be connected problems when it will come to the solution. So if we want to solve the product manager, whoever is analyzing problem, we'll need to split them somehow.
Yes.
So then the voting momentum is super different. It's like, let's say we would have people that thought it's a great idea counter and impacted users counter. Then when you click, it's like, I want to click on myself, I like the idea button.
Okay.
Customer wanted this, no?
Okay, I see where you go. So the fact of separating them will be easier to analyze if there has been a voting momentum of somehow. Not that we're finding a solution for avoiding voting momentum. Okay.
And the other thing that so if we think this voting of like, I like it, versus hey, customer told me, this is gonna sound super bad, but I would actually love to put some pressure on a user.
What do you mean?
So if you just have a vote button, no? So the easiest solution on the planet is like, you click the button, we say thank you, and we read session so we know it was Hunkal that liked this idea. It's for free.
Yes.
So right now, when it's just customer or your opinion, it's actually 2 clicks. So it's like upvote, save without description, upvote, save without description.
Yes.
So it's basically for free, so you can keep clicking it. And it's like, if you would put on it governmental stamp and people would believe the tax depends on it, they would triple click and think what they're clicking. No, so it's like you click and it's like, we will be counting that in your taxes in how many times you click this button, and people will be, now I need to be cautious. Like I will only click on things I really want because I don't know, they will take 10% from my income of it. I don't want to take income from any of the customers, but you know what I mean. It's like more official. It's like you click and it's like, are you voting on the behalf of a customer? It's, no, I'm not doing this. Customer is important. I don't know, but it's like making maybe the user more aware think twice of what they're doing. No?
Okay. Maybe help you want the PM or the person analyzing the data to see if there has been a voting momentum, but then also we could work on avoiding this voting momentum as the most, or easing it. Okay, as another possible problem. Okay. And so just a moment ago you said I already have a solution in my head, blah blah, it's difficult not to be biased, but this is why
I
it's
changed
useful.
the solution, by the way, 2 times already.
No, but I mean, it's super normal to think about solutions, but this is why we should force ourselves to go to, let's go first to what we know. And then we go to problem. No? So trying to force yourself to take a step back and go through this flow instead of jumping to drawing the solution.
True. And we'll have enough space to draw solutions later. And there's going to be a lot of zooming in, zooming out. One more thing that I would just type down for ourselves is there is clearly 2 types of users, and maybe that's gonna influence somehow our decisions. Maybe one of the roles should see something else. So there is the guy that is super important to analyze. So in our case, there is a PM and CS. The easiest would be to call those actors this way. There's much more people involved, but there is a contributor that is upvoting and the person that is trying to analyze and understand how many how much for this feature it is people liked it versus customers really need it, or customers requested it.
Okay, so we have the role who is the analyzer, let's say, of the
Let's say,
information, and the other one is the contributor who collects the feedback, let's say, no?
Oh yeah, or gives upvotes for.
Okay.
Just gives upvotes.
In general,
and then
no?
We'll try to split them, but in general they give upvotes.
Yeah, so we have the two. Yeah, we have the two faces of the coin.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep that in mind, no?
Yeah, this is super useful for later think about the solution.
Okay, so do we know anything else? Or do we believe we know something?
Oh, yeah. If we... Yeah?
I was just about to add that we'll be jumping and adding post-its here through the whole session. It never ends of like, we know everything, let's build it.
Yes, similar thing. I was going to say that when we will try to define the problem, maybe we see that we're missing information or something.
Okay, so narrowing problem definition.
So basically, now that we talked about what we know, we want to define the problem on like a one sentence or something that is specific, so we can use it as a guide later for the solution. And then when we start maybe thinking of a bigger solution or changing the solution or something, we can always come back to the problem and evaluate: is this solving the problem we want to solve? Is the problem the one we want to solve? And so on. And here in this template, it may not be needed depending on the situation. But if you need it, here like the steps of what you should follow to define a problem. So you need to know, why is it a problem? Who has the need, right? Like now you, Matt, were mentioning the users. When does it happen? Like in the flow of your user or in your product. And as well, it can be useful to know how is it being solved today, like which workarounds or what is going on today. We already discussed, but we can see if we have everything, no?
Yeah.
So...
But there are parts that I believe that are heavily influenced by this right now. Okay, but let's do it. So why is it a problem? So we can pick one. I would treat things like voting momentum and things we discussed more as a context.
Yes.
But the problem I would try to go for is as an analyzer. I love this role. As an analyzer, it sounds like a 90s Transformer name, no? I'm the Analyzer 9000 Autobots. So as the analyzer, I want to be able to see how many users requested something, or how many users would be impacted by... Okay, ideological context for both of us, I guess. So for me, signals or user feedbacks are more showing me a problem.
Yes.
Ideas, as we frame them right now, are more solution. So yes, we do gather how many customers would be able to use this solution, but it's more for me how many customers have the underlying problem. Ideologically, this is what I'm looking for. So it's like, if I solve this problem, how many users are going to be impacted by this change? So how many of them I'm going to make happy or more optimal or not churn or whatever they are threatening with.
Okay. So what you were doing just a second before is that you were already phrasing the problem, which is good. You were going as an... This is two possible ways you can frame the problem.
Okay, so why? Because I overjumped. True.
I mean, if we feel confident, we can jump. Like again, this template is not mandatory, but it is interesting to try to go. Like why is it a problem? What we try to solve.
Especially we're doing tutorial on YouTube, so probably good not to skip too many
Let's
parts.
not jump things.
So why is it a problem? So right now I cannot. So right now there is a mix between users that are so the number shows users impacted and how hot is the feature internally. I will call it like this.
Okay, so basically this is a problem, this is what's happening, and this is a problem because the PM cannot analyze the information properly.
So you cannot say how many users would be impacted now, because if I vote 20 times, it's like, did that person actually talk to 20 customers? I feel 20 clicks is how important it is for me.
Okay, so the number of users impacted, it's not accurate. That's the biggest problem, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
when I was coming today in the morning, I was like, nah, I even have UI already in my mind. It's like, why we are doing that session? Maybe let's change the topic. But now, no, I totally, that UI wouldn't work anymore. So
Yes, so we see the number of users impacted is not accurate.
yeah,
It's why this is a problem, right? Can we talk about, or shall we talk about the problem? Maybe it's a smaller problem from the user, like if I need to, it's a problem because I want to go for a quick vote and I cannot, no? Like maybe users are not efficient when voting, kind of. The problem because I said it and it's like, is it really a problem for us?
And aren't they efficient? 2 clicks.
Exactly.
Right now, actually.
Like,
so what's efficiency?
Exactly. I've heard from them like, oh, I just want to vote and I have all these fields, but why is it a problem?
Yeah. And again, I would say it is a bit solution space, but let me draw something. Follow me in the Figma file.
Okay, I'm gonna follow you.
I'm gonna... Oh, what am I doing?
Let's do something.
Yeah.
Let's put it better in the possible solutions, right?
Yeah.
Because we are just brainstorming things.
Yeah.
So
I'm just gonna draw the possible solutions
yes,
just to
here.
visualize it.
Yeah.
So we will have a form. And what's going a lot of UI elements, no? So there's gonna be inputs and stuff like this. But how about you have actions here? No? So it's like...
Okay.
And this is what you see. Give me 1 more minute. And then you have something like similar. Thinking about it. So it's like you click the button, we say, yep, we already recorded your voting. Do you want to give us a description? No.
Okay. Now let me ask you why.
Go.
Like what makes you pop this idea in your head? What is behind it from the problem?
Efficiency for voting.
Okay.
So it's like we can record the vote already. And you said like if we go to user signal, if you can switch one and click on new signal or upvote, it's actually the same form. This can be overwhelming, no? So it's like,
yes.
Oh, I need to understand what I'm doing when I wanted to just vote, and it's creating something new.
And even right now, I think you cannot. Oh, yes, you can. Yes, you can.
So you can do it, and it's gonna be counted when approved. So there is some moderation flow, but it may be not that clear, no?
Yes, it's like, what am I doing here? I just want to vote, and I have all these, even files to attach, no? I just want to vote.
Yeah. So if you would like to go for ultimate user, easy, efficient solution, I believe we could split it into this. So it's like, if the goal for us is gonna be get as many upvotes as possible, probably we're removing friction by that one. But let's keep moving. It's just like one thing I wanted to note somewhere.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Because actually, when we think about that solution and keep in mind, if we want to get the customer data, and the customer data is bigger priority for us, which we will need to understand in a minute, then this is anti-pattern. We'll not get a lot of customer information here.
Plus, for me, I'm not super sure if it's good to have a trigger point or a starting point when the user cannot make the choice at the beginning of what they want to do. No, it's like I need to enter first, and then is that I can make the choice for that.
Okay, let me... do we have shapes also?
Natural, like from the moment you start doing it, you know what you're going to do.
Yeah, and then I would say if we would have such buttons, be the more complicated. It's just more complex model.
To start brainstorming ideas, but we can ask ourselves, okay, and then how we evaluate if we should move forward, right? Because we haven't defined the problem yet.
Yeah, true, right? True. So let's go back to problem.
It's super good to map everything you discuss or everything you think, and then try to make the exercise to
to keep getting back, and it's important for someone to keep you back. What's one other tip that I will share randomly now is usually you want to keep the session small, meaning 3 people. 5 people is way too many, and you will start having too long discussions about some of the parts. So it's way better to try to do it with less people. Okay, so
Yes. The why, I still have this in my head, and I wonder if for this part we may need to understand a little bit better the users, to be honest. I mean, we can imagine, because they said, I don't like that I cannot just vote just like that. So why is it a problem for them? You think maybe it's efficiency? Yeah, maybe
Let's
I'm just
keep
overthinking.
It here, and maybe we're just gonna not think about it.
Okay.
But let's keep it there for now.
And who has the need? We said.
And here I would say actually that the analyzer has the need.
Okay.
This one we are sure. With the users, it's like they said they want to have a button.
And it is true that we understand better the analyzer. So maybe there is as well a bigger need from the users, but we have just like a very small feedback, so we don't fully understand.
Yeah, and we don't know. So I don't believe we would be able to push it further. I mean, we would be guessing a lot. So
yeah. Okay.
So when does it happen? It's the problem for the analyzer. The problem happens when you want to assess impact of the feedbacks, no, of the problem/idea.
Yes, when assessing. Okay. Yes, because if we're focusing on the analyzer, this is the moment when the problem happens.
Yeah, basically. So you don't care when they click. It's more like, okay, so what's the biggest problem my customers have, or biggest opportunity I can do from user feedbacks? And then you look at, so in the perfect world, when things would be easy, you would say the one with the most votes, or the voting momentum doesn't exist, and these things, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna build this one, and it's gonna be 400 customers impacted. It's not true, no?
Okay.
So and then you start thinking like, oh, but how much of this is connected to actual customers? How much maybe value this brings from those customers and things like this, no? So it's not that easy.
Okay, so that's the moment when assessing the impact of the ideas. And how is it being solved today? I think in the current, correct me if I'm wrong, at least in the older implementation, they had like a panel with a graph, and then you could see the votes, so you could analyze if there was like a voting momentum, because suddenly there was like a high pike. So it was very like a big workaround, right? You need to be suspicious that maybe something would be happening. I mean, not suspicious, but like, okay, I see too many votes, I want to know what happened here. You need to go to the data and interpret if something happened.
And there were some approaches to try to fix it. I would say brute force, but interesting ones that we can also type down. So one was making customer link required field.
Okay.
But this, since you don't want, like a user don't want to, they just want to vote, as you said.
Yes.
They were adding a lot of dots or google.com to just, pass through validation. So then the play you have is how good validation you're gonna have, and then the user keeps trying to hack you to just leave empty customer links. So this didn't work as a workaround. And then what else was there? Some people tried to limit the number of the votes you can give as a person a day, but this makes no sense, because if you actually had 20 calls with the customer today, you want to give 20. So you need to start guessing numbers, and it gets super complicated to hit with the right limit. So also didn't work. So we should probably not think about those.
Okay.
We can put them later as a rabbit holes, actually.
Okay, yeah. This made me think about something, that they had this workaround of making the customer link required, but still the user were doing like a workaround to not put it. So it feels to me that for them the problem is like, I want to be heard, like I want to give my opinion, right? It's not like a... Yeah,
it's my opinion, but not necessarily having a customer in my mind already.
Yes, like maybe users want to give their opinion.
Yeah.
About an idea.
Yeah, and I would say so, no? So even if it's like, I don't know, I'm trying to imagine some examples that may or may not exist, but let's say you are working in sales and there is this sales manager that really wants to get something done.
Yes.
And he asks everybody in sales to just click the button for me tomorrow. I have this big customer to close. Let's make it team effort, and let's click it around, no? So the product team gonna get our message delivered that this is important for our sales team. I don't know if this would happen, but this is what I'm having in mind. No?
Exactly. They just need a way for them to express their opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I really think this is impactful for the company.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So how might we okay, we should explain now. So we should define the problem. That's
Yes.
gonna guide us later for the
Exactly.
solutions and everything else.
It is useful to have it like on a very defined sentence.
Yep.
And what we have here are two different templates. You can use one or the other. It depends of just which one you like the most. In the first one, it's more useful for ideation because it makes you think about, okay, what possible solutions are there for that? And the second one includes more details about the goal, about the user. So depending on your approach, more or less, you can choose one or the other.
I would go for how might we.
Okay.
So
how
because
might
I have
we-
one super generic one in my mind. And so it's either enable, make smoother. Okay, weird words in English, but basically the goal for me is how might we help with dividing, like getting the number of users impacted versus interested people. Don't have better names for
Okay.
it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is like an umbrella for me, for all of the stuff we said. So it's like everybody wants to give an opinion, and there are two types of the opinion. One on behalf of customer, and one that is just your idea.
Okay. So how might we help? And let's put here the user. It's always useful to mention the user in here to be clear. How might we help the analyzer?
Yeah, the Analyzer 2000.
The analyzer with getting okay, so this is our differentiation, no? How might we help the analyzer differentiate interest from customers and interest from people working on the company? How you call that?
Yeah, maybe those are two different measures. So I'm gonna go for solutions again, but maybe it's like how hot versus how needed it is. So how many users impacted you have and how hot it is. So it's like
Okay.
Again, if you would not have personal opinion, you would say I have this feature that is impacting 5 customers, but they're super hyped about it. I mean, they will just like jump over the window from happiness when they have this thing.
Okay.
Versus there is this super small thing that will make nobody happy that is impacted by 300 customers. Is it making sense? I don't know, but maybe it's this two things, no? So it's like how many people, but in both cases it's people. It's just one customers and the other ones are the other people inside your company that liked it, no?
Yes. So I was thinking, how might we help the analyzer evaluate impact and popularity, or impact versus impact versus
popularity?
Is it impact or is it confidence, or should we not enter in there?
I would say impact.
Yeah,
I
no?
would say impact.
Yeah.
Because it's like you have feedbacks that
And
usually show you a problem. So those are the customers that are impacted by this problem.
And the more you have, the bigger the
Exactly.
potential impact.
And popularity can be, when it comes to popularity now, for me it's sum, no? So it's those customers plus everybody that would upvote and things like this,
interesting.
no?
Okay.
Because those customers, for them it's also needed, no? So it's those are then two different numbers actually.
That's right. So as you can see, the one before was different because we were saying differentiate one from another.
Yeah.
But actually, the combination of both, it's a thing.
And I believe it's more valuable to go for the combination. So let's delete this first one.
So how might we help the analyzer evaluate impact versus popularity of an idea?
Idea problem. In our case, right now they're called ideas, but let's be true. They may have inside problems also, no?
Okay. How might we help the analyzer?
We have our problem definition.
Yes.
This took us 40 something minutes, so I believe we'll continue. But here's gonna be the cut for the another episode. Thank you very much for listening to this one.
Thank you. Yes. On the next one, we will move forward to start thinking about the possible solutions and where the boundaries we want to put.
Exactly. Yeah. And from there, we'll be drawing more. So see you in a bit, hopefully.
Yes.
And see ya.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.